the second week, the last 2 weeks. So we're doing it every 2 weeks. So that hits 3 classes this month. And we're so excited about that because we have created, if you haven't seen, a new spring cookbook guide. And all of the recipes that we're doing in our classes this month, we are taking from our guide. So you can look at the recipes and the schedule and then pick and choose attending or looking at the video once it is posted on our Facebook page. If you get cut off tonight, you can't get back into your Zoom, you can simply go to our Facebook page because we are streaming live there. But things that you see during this class, please just mention if it's something you didn't know or something you're going to try, or you enjoy these classes, please let us know. And we will definitely be talking about our specials and all of that as we go through tonight. So we have 2 recipes in store for you. And one of them is a spinach feta tomato frittata. And Terry Munson, who is on the West Coast, is going to Pacific Northwest actually, I believe that's where she lives. Is going to be presenting that for us. So we're going to start with Terry. I'm so happy to have her back. She's a really good presenter, and you can see her love of cooking and gathering with people is definitely, it's a passion that she has, and she speaks from her heart and cooks from her heart too. And we all know that people that cook from their heart, the food tastes better. So up to you, Terry.
Thank you, Cindy, for such a nice introduction. I live in Spokane Valley, Washington, real close to the Idaho border.
Okay.
I am here to present the spinach feta and tomato frittata. And it is a new recipe for me. So I started off with 8 eggs. It does call for large eggs. So this is already did the eggs in my bowl. And we're going to add 1.5 cups of Greek yogurt. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to the bowl. Get all of this in here.
And that swap of yogurt as opposed to sour cream or cottage cheese is just fabulous. It just helps the frittata rise so beautifully, and it doesn't flatten out when you take it out.
Thank you, Cindy. I didn't know that. So then
You're
I
welcome.
chop up some onions because that is what it calls for, a 1/4 cup of onions. And if you've never used our chopper, this is the most wonderful thing that everybody uses in this household. And you can just, my husband calls it the little mini lawnmower, but you just chop, 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 however small you want it, is how many turns that you give it. So there is the chopped onion. I wear contacts, so I am always appreciative of this tool. It's called the Eco Chopper. So we're going to go ahead and put those in. And then the next thing is it calls for a red diced red a red pepper. And I went ahead and took care of cutting all of those up as well. So we're going to put those in, and you'll see in the recipe, it just calls for 1/2 cup into that bowl. And it also calls for spinach. And I took that ahead of time, 2 cups into the chopper, and this is how it came out. So we're going to put that into this as well. It takes care of all that chopping for me, which is wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and whip that up with a whisk. And this is a new recipe for us, for me, and I was very excited that I was asked to demo this. Now, we have also what is the feta cheese, which is 1/2 cup. I'm going to put that in, and it calls for, I just love our spices because they're just so full of a lot of large pieces. You can see, I always tell people you use these a lot. I say shake it up really good to make sure you got it um, a, a good amount of them. And this one calls for 3/4 of a teaspoon. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And if you have not ever purchased our this set, I love it because it is magnetic and they don't fall apart, and I use them all the time. We've got the dry side and the wet side. And my great grandson loves to put them together because it's easy, the black and white. We got also the salt. It is just a half a teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, which I pre-measured. I'm using the black pepper of the Vietnam pepper that comes in our of the grinder. So I'm using that one. And I chose the Selgris salt instead of just regular sea salt. It is sea salt, but Selgris is one that I prefer. And we're going to go ahead and get this all mixed up. I already baked some, so you can see what they look like coming out of in the tray. The tray we're going to use tonight is the 6 loaf tray. I love this one because I live in a 55 and older neighborhood, and I think we're one of the youngest ones. And I am not 55. But I usually we have a lady across the street that's 99 and love to make bread, zucchini, banana, any kind of bread is great. I also make hamburger like a loaf, a hamburger loaf, and then I'll freeze it. And then we also share them with people in our neighborhood. So this is what we're going to make it in today. And it happens to be on sale until the 5th of this month. 5th of this month, 2 more days, only $33. And I was just told that there is a 25% off a one-time use, and it's good until 4/30, April 30th. So just keep that in mind. There are a lot of really great sales. Something else that is in March that I use often is it's the mini tartlet tray and the 6 round tray. Those are really great also, and use them often. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in, but I want to show you. We also, before we put them in the oven, it is called Campari tomatoes. This is new for me. I didn't tell Cindy that, but these Campari tomatoes are really, really good. And what you do is you cut just the very tip of it off and you put them straight down when you put them into the mold. So I'm going to show you what we have when it comes out of the oven so you can see the finished product. It really smells good too. So this is the frittata, and you can see, well, and let me lift it up a little bit more, that red Campari little tomato that's in there. I haven't tasted it yet, but that's going to be next. And this is going to, and oh, I forgot to say, I made this one all dairy free. My daughter cannot have dairy. So the feta cheese is dairy free, and everything that I had to use. I put in a dairy free yogurt. So she's going to be surprised when she gets home. So this is all dairy free. Smells wonderful. So the other one's going to go in after this. And if you have any questions, or the recipe's in the chat, and it doesn't take long to make. Enjoy. Spinach, feta, and tomato.
Thank you so much, Terry. I'm a little jealous because that is one of my favorite go-tos, and making them as prepping them as you have. I'm sure you're going to take some out and freeze some, and you just put them in the microwave. You could reheat them in the oven if you like, but you can put them in the microwave for a minute, 20 seconds, then check them, and up to a minute up to 2 minutes, I think is fine because they're not really thick, but a little bit. Thank you so much, and so great to have you back. Really, welcome back to Taste the Trend, and we're real excited to share these cooking experiences with you as an instructor and with everyone on the call this evening. So I am working on some kale. And when I first was introduced to kale, you know, kale 15 years ago, everybody was like, you gotta eat kale, you gotta eat kale, it's a green, it's so good for you. And it wasn't something that I was used to eating because I wasn't raised with that type of green. So this is the kale, as I will tell you what I'm doing with it, but this is actually the best kale that I believe that you can buy, and many people also agree with me. And a lot of people call it, let's see, what do they call it? Lacinato, but it's actually lacinato, and it's an Italian name. This is how you buy it in a bunch. You can also buy it in a large bag, already cleaned and everything, but if you want the freshest, I buy this. It's organic, and I use it within about 4 or 5 days. But when you store it, if you have it in a plastic container, I always put a paper towel in it and seal it so there's no air getting into it, and it stays pretty fresh in the refrigerator. So the first thing you want to do is, of course, wash your kale. So I saved 2 pieces that are washed. And if you don't know about kale and you just want to eat well, you will maybe purchase it and then you just chop it up and you eat it, but you find that it's a little bit bitter. And it's true, it is a little bit bitter. But washing it and how you eat the kale, you don't want to eat their stem. So you can see the stem goes all the way down. It gets thinner as it gets to the top of your kale, which we're making it into the bottom right now. So what you do is you hold the stem, and I kind of like push the stem forward as I pull the kale towards me, and it's just coming right off the stem. And I do that on both sides of the kale. So I switch, put the stem in the other arm. And what I'm doing is just kind of not ripping it off. I'm just pinching it. Sometimes it is a little bit much, like this will get pretty thin here. So I will just take that off. Some people leave the bottom of it on this thin, but I don't, because why would I? Then I'm just going to, normally I would be cutting this, but for time's sake, I'm just going to talk to you about kale. If you want your kale not to be bitter, once you wash it, and you wash it in a little bit, not hot water, a little bit of not cold, not hot, room temperature water I usually use. Then if you put it in a bowl and I add 1 teaspoon of EVOO that I'm going to use in the salad, I add 1 teaspoon of acid. I mix my pomegranate and my white balsamic vinegar. It's very good. So I was running out of pomegranate, but I had about half and half. And then some salt, and then a half of a lemon, which I've already done that. And then the trick to grate kale is this. You want to, and if this was more than halfway full, it shrinks as it sits. You want to massage the kale, and then you're going to let it set and absorb the flavor, but also absorb the liquid. And the reason that you do this is because when you massage the kale, what happens is it becomes less bitter as it absorbs the acid, the oil, the salt, with the lemon and the balsamic. So this has been sitting for about 15 minutes as we were getting ready for the call. And the darker it gets, the better your kale is going to taste. So you can see this looks fairly green. This looks more black. And of course the liquid is going to change the color a little bit, but really the blacker your kale becomes, the better it's going to taste. Excuse me, dropped a piece on my chair. And if you want to serve more people than 2 with a salad, you want the salad as the main course, I would suggest 2 bunches. This is 1 bunch, exactly this size right here. So just some little tips and tricks about working with the kale. So I also, this is like too much, of course, to eat like this. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to chop the apples. One apple goes into the kale salad, and I'm gonna chop them in half. I just made some fat large slices here, and I'm going to put them into the chopper. The chopper is something I use every single day. And the reason is it saves me so much time, and it can still chop fairly uniform if you know how many poles you want. So I am going to do probably 4 poles with this. I'm going to check. I don't want my apple chunks this big because I want it to go along with how small I'm going to cut the kale. So I am going to move the EVOO and the powder balsamic, and I'm going to do 4 poles. So you can see this is very nice looking, and you can see that I have kind of like a confetti, and I don't mind. I don't mind if one of the pieces or several pieces are this large. I like a variation because it gives your salad more texture. I'm not going to put all of that in though. I just wanted to show you that. The next thing I'm going to do is just grab a bowl, and I'm going to put the apples in it because I'm also going to chop the kale. And if it's dry kale, I would be chopping it approximately 5 poles. If it's wet, as I have it right now, and I can leave the apples here, it's perfectly fine, they're going together. So I am going to fill this up. It smells so good. It smells like healthy food, and I love that. Okay. So I'm going to do 3, which you can see some of them are a little bit large, so more. And I'll grab another chopper bowl right here. Sorry, I didn't think about that. And I'll chop. Put that in. And I do have a little bit of liquid in here. It's okay because the liquid, I don't even want to drain it because it was all the ingredients that I'm going to use for the salad. Put the top back on. This 4 times because this has less. And then I'm going to open it up. And oops, we'll bring the bowl back. We might as well just make the salad in here too. So I'm going to put this all in the bowl, and you can see I have like small pieces, and generally if you cut it dry, you're going to cut it into ribbon pieces. I could have dried it and then cut it, but this is perfectly fine for me because we're going to eat it right away as soon as we're done with the class. You can put shrimp on top, do a grilled shrimp, roasted shrimp in the oven, just takes around 10 minutes at about 400 degrees. You could do chicken. If you made a chicken over the weekend, you could actually take the leftovers and slice them, heat them up, and roast them on your banh mat, and then use that for the top of your kale salad. But the next thing I'm going to do is add the rest of the ingredients. So we have around 3 cups of Tuscan kale before it was wet. So it reduces by 1/3 once it's wet. So I want to make sure you understand that in case you will feel like maybe you don't have enough. We want 1/4 cup of toasted walnuts or pecans, which we have right here. We're going to add these right in. And then we are going to add I'm going to do the Parmesan last. We have lemon zest. I'll do that with the Parmesan once I get the dressing done. And in a large bowl, we have the kale, the diced apple. We're going to put that in. is really nice. You can see there are some bigger pieces. This is going to give, the kale doesn't have a lot of texture once it's wet and it has been soaked and massaged into being a soft salad. We're also going to add our dried cherries. I love dried cherries. I don't think we could ever have enough dried fruit in our house. That's what we eat for snack. We love it. Then we also have shaved Parmesan. And we have a lemon zest. So I zested about a little bit more than half of a lemon, and I used our mini zester. And I love this because it just does such a great job zesting. You can see that the zest is not just really, really fine. It's a little bit larger, and it depends on how I like to do quick strokes and not take it all the way down. 1, 2, 3. Generally, I just do 3, and you do not want to zest where you have already zested because that will create a very bitter salad. Next thing I'm going to do is I am going to take, I'm going to squeeze some of this lemon in here, being that I have it. Remember, we actually in our spring guide, we have 10 recipes for 10 different dressings that you can make. And they are really good. Green Goddess is in there. You know, it's using our ingredients and then putting something else with it to create a really great taste. If you haven't tried our balsamic vinegars and oils or our EVOO, I suggest that you do. You definitely need to do that. I've got 1 teaspoon of mustard. It's called for Herbes de Provence. I'm sorry, I'm using the tomato mustard, which is what I always use in dressings. It does not taste like tomatoes. It just tastes great mixed with the dressing. So just remember that. Then we're also going to add, let's see, the balsamic vinegar. We have 2 tablespoons of that. I count to 3. That's a tablespoon. Okay, it's looking good. And then we have also 1 teaspoon of honey, which I have here. I don't want to put too much honey in because I don't want it to be all sweet. So we have 1 teaspoon of honey. And what you're doing is just mixing all of this together. And then you will figure out, once you do the taste test, you'll know whether you need more of something or not. I love vinegar, so I generally add more vinegar. Then we're also going to add 3 tablespoons, which for me, being that this already has, of course, some of the vinegar and oil on it, I'm just going to put in one tablespoon of oil. A little bit less. I don't need a lot because I have some in there. And then I'm using our Cell Gray salt. And then I am using telecherry pepper because I love the telecherry. It's really good for anything that is fruit and vegetables. And if you don't want like it to be real spunky and give it a little bit of a kick, it gives it a taste without a strong kick. And I think Terry used the Vietnam pepper, which gives it a little bit of a kick, and the Madagascar also does that. And I'm using our pepper mill. We have 5 different peppers, and what you do is you just take the pepper, and each one of them is a little container. It's so wonderful because it's international peppers, and you can taste the different tastes from around the world. And this is number 3, telecherry. You screw that on, turn it upside down, and I'm going to do the same. 3 or 4, depending on how it tastes now. So we have lemon, we have honey, we have the pepper, and we have the balsamic and the vinegar and the mustard. So you could also emulsify this in your EcoChop. And that's really nice. It turns a little bit frothy and it's a little bit thicker when you do that. But I think this is fine like this to give you an idea of how this looks. If you want it thicker, you could put a little bit more honey because we don't want it too thin, not to adhere to our kale, which is already dampened. Let's see here. We'll use our mini whisk again. The things that we can't live without in the kitchen. The mini whisk, the eco chop, the vinegar, the oils, the EVOO, and just all these molds. Like these things are created for professional chefs, and we understand fully why they love them so much. And you'll find a lot of them on sale now too. So I am going to put a little bit of the dressing here. Then I'm going to take the spatulas and I am going to mix it up. Looks really good. This is something you want to eat for lunch. You could put it even overnight. It will be good tomorrow because it's a pretty wet salad if you want to do the treatment to the kale to get it tasting the best. Then I'm going to take all of the lemon zest and put that in. And that is about a half of a lemon or 1 teaspoon, full teaspoon. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Okay. And then I'm going to take the Parmesan, shaved Parmesan, and this is about 1/4 cup. I'm going to mix that up as well. So we have this beautiful salad with the nuts and everything just coming together so nicely. Then I take the bowl and a spoon. We'll move this and we'll taste it to see if it needs more dressing or not. You could also, instead of the cherries, you could put pomegranate in. I do have the pomegranate dressing, which would be perfect for the pomegranates, but when I was at the store today, they did not have any pomegranate. And I don't buy them pre-done. I just can't. I cannot do that. And look how beautiful this is. And I'll tell you another secret. If you wanted to, somebody doesn't like this salad, boil some pasta and mix it all together. It will be fabulous. I can guarantee you that. So that's it for our beautiful kale salad. I hope that some of the tips and that Terry and I used in our cooking tonight, that you're able to take those tips and definitely take advantage of them and really making great food at home. It's not difficult. And maybe your family's not used to eating a salad, and that's why you would put maybe shrimp on top because they want to have that other protein. You could also do a fried egg and pop that on top. You could do hard-boiled eggs. You could do chicken. You could do steak. You could do shrimp. I probably wouldn't do the beef because I just feel like it's screaming shrimp or chicken. So I hope that you enjoyed that. I know that Eric also has the link to our spring cooking guide, which the recipe is in there as well. It's also on our Bomb Cook website, and that is just straight bombcook.com, no W's necessary. And you'll find not only these recipes, but hundreds of recipes that you can use that make you feel like a simple gourmet at home. So I hope you've enjoyed the class tonight. I'd love to open it up if anyone has any questions, and then we'll let you get back to your family.
Well, we don't have any questions in the chat.
Okay, great. And were you able to share the cookbook guide, Eric?
Oh, yes.
Okay, and I know that Terry talked about the sales that we have going on now too, and you want to keep that cookbook guide is good through the end of April, and you'll have that guide for not just for recipes, but for tablescape. There's some really fabulous ideas that are written in there So different ideas that you can do that. Entertaining doesn't have to be difficult. It can be simple, just like a simple gourmet meal. And you can do a simple tablescape with things that you already have at home, like wrapping paper. So check that out as well. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great night. We'll talk to you all again in 2 weeks. We have some more great recipes for you. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.